In this lesson, we are going to learn how to update database records in Laravel. For this lesson, we are going to add an edit button in our to-do application. So right now, when we view a single to-do, let's add a button so that the user can click on that button to edit a record. So we're going to go to the show.blade.php. So resources, views, to-dos, show.blade.php, and we're going to add an edit button. So right under here, I'm just going to add a button, button info, and this is going to say edit. So this probably should be an anchor tag. So if I refresh, we have the edit button right there. So the href is going to be to a dynamic path. So we're going to have to-dos slash, and we're going to dynamically add the ID of the to-do and go to the slash edit path. Okay, so if I refresh this, now we have the edit button. And of course, this page is not found because we haven't yet registered the path in our routes file, right? So let's go back. Probably want to make this edit button a little better. So we're going to give this a button, small, and a margin Y of 5. Refresh. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this out of the card completely here. Okay, refresh. Great, awesome. So that's our edit button. But at the moment, it goes to a 404 page. Okay, so this probably should be margin Y of 2. Refresh, check it. Great, awesome. So that's our edit button. Now, we need to register this route so that when the user visits this route, it shows a form for the user to edit the details of this specific to-do. So let's go ahead and register this route. We are going to go to web.php file right here in the routes web folder. Then we're going to register a new route, and this is going to be a get route. And it's going to go to to-dos slash, we'll dynamically get the to-do, then slash edit, just like we have right here. Okay, and this is going to go to the to-dos controller at edit. So we'll go to our to-dos controller and we're going to create an edit method. So public function edit. Our edit method is going to take in the to-do ID right here. And remember, since we have a dynamic part of our path, Laravel is automatically going to detect this path and then automatically pass that value right here. Which means that if 1 is passed here, then to-do ID is going to be equal to 1. And if 2 is passed, then to-do ID is going to be equal to 2. In this case, what we want to do is find the specific to-do that we are trying to edit. Okay, so we're going to say to-do ID right here. So to-do ID is going to be used to find the to-do. So now that we found the to-do with this specific ID, then we are going to return a view, and this is going to be to-dos.edit. Then we are also going to send the to-do that we are trying to edit to this view as such. Okay, so for the edit method, we get the to-do ID from the URL, we find the specific to-do, and then we return a view called todos.edit with the specific to-do that we want to edit. Okay, so let's go ahead and create an edit.blade.php. And since this edit is going to have almost exactly the same properties as our create, we're just going to copy the create and then paste that in our edit. Okay, so now if I refresh this page, you can see that we see the same form right there. The page is no longer a 404. So if we come back to our to-dos, we visit a specific to-do and we click on edit, you can see that it takes us to this page so that we can edit the details. Let's modify this form for edit. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the title, and this is going to be edit to-do. And if there are any errors, we're also going to display errors, so I'm just going to leave that right there. Okay, so first, it's not going to go to store to-dos, it's going to go to update to-dos, and we're going to register that route in a bit. The next thing we want to do is populate the values of the form with the existing to-do. So we're going to say the value is going to be equal to to-do name, and the value of the text area also is going to be equal to do name. But I think for a text area, we can actually just pass to do description right here. Okay, so let's see what that gives us. If I refresh, you can see we have drive the car and we have drive the car to the mechanic right here. Okay, we probably want to format this correctly so that we don't have space in the text area like this. Okay, so if we refresh, great, that looks fine. So this is the value of drive the car and drive the car to the mechanic. Awesome. Next thing, this button should say update to do. When we submit this, it's going to go to a route called update to do's and it's going to make a post request, which means we need to register a route for the update to do's. Let's go to our web.php and we are going to register a new route. So route post, and this is going to be update to do's, and this is going to go to the to do's controller at update. So let's create the update method in our to do's controller. So public function update, and in this case the first thing we want to do is have our validation. So we probably want to copy the validation we have right here and paste right here. Okay, so we make sure that the name is required and it's a minimum of 6 values and a maximum of 12 values. We also make sure the description is required. The next thing we need to do is get the data. So we're going to say request all. Okay, so once we get the data, we are going to get the specific to-do that we are trying to update, and we are going to update that to-do. Now, this is where it becomes a little tricky. There are 2 ways for us to provide the specific to-do. At the moment, we have the ID of the to-do right here, and we can use that ID to have a hidden field in this input and submit the form. Let me show you what I mean. In the edit.blade.php, we can have an input right here, input of type hidden, and the name is going to be to-do ID, and the value is going to be dynamically generated by to-do ID. Okay, and if I refresh this form and you view the page source, right here you can see that we have a hidden input with the value 6, which is exactly what we have right here. So we can pass this value to the server, get this value to be able to find the ID of the to-do that we are editing. We can do this, or we can also change the way our route is registered. So we can do something like this: to-dos / to-do / update to-dos, which means that we are going to pass the ID of the to-do we are trying to update in the URL of the update route. So how would that look? We're going to come to our edit. I'll delete this, and here we're going to have to-dos / and here we're going to pass in the ID of the to-do. So to-do ID. And if I come back, refresh the page, view the page source, and check out the form, you see that the action is to-dos /6 / update to-dos. Okay, so let's just go ahead and do it this way. And how would that look? We're going to come to our to-dos controller, and right here we're going to receive the to-do ID. As easy as that. Next thing we're going to do is find the to-do. So to-do find to-do ID. The next thing we're going to do is assign the values. So to-do name is going to be equal to data name. To-do description is going to be equal to data description. And finally, we need to save the to-do. So we're going to say to-do save. And then we're going to redirect to the to-do's route. Like that. Okay? So the first thing is we place our validation to make sure that the data coming in is valid. The second thing we do is we get data from the form, from the request object. Then we find the specific to-do that we are trying to edit. Then we update the values. So to-do name is going to be the data coming from the front end, and the description is going to be the data coming from the front end also. But this is not an object, so we have to make sure we use the array notation. Okay, then we save the to-do and we direct back to the to-dos route. So let's try this out. I'm just going to open up the edit right here. It says drive the car. I'm just going to say drive the car nicely, and I'm just going to say drive the car nicely to the mechanic. So let's update the to-do, and it says the name may not be longer than 12 characters. Oh, that's right. So let's go ahead and update this to drive the car nicely as such. Okay, so if I click on update, great, it redirects us to this page. And if you can check the title of this value right here, you can see that the title is different. And if you check that out, it was successfully updated. So just like that, we have the create and update functionality in our application. How cool is that? Laravel gives us superpowers to be able to update or build whatever kind of applications we want to build. So I'm just going to change this back to drive car, update, and great. You can see we have drive car right there. Make sure you try this out, and I'll catch you out in the very next lesson.